After 20 years of marriage, my wife told me, I wish I'd chosen a different life. I simply nodded and said, it's not too late to start one. That night, I moved her things into the guest room, and when she saw who was sitting on our porch the next morning, she finally understood what I meant. I'm 50, and I thought I had everything figured out. 2 decades of marriage, a comfortable house in the suburbs, 2 kids who'd both moved out for college. Sarah and I had weathered the usual storms, financial stress, parenting disagreements, the occasional argument about whose turn it was to handle the broken dishwasher. Nothing that seemed catastrophic. We were the couple our friends pointed to as solid, the ones who still held hands at neighborhood barbecues. The comment came on a Tuesday night. We were sitting in our living room, one of those quiet evenings where we'd both retreated to our separate corners with our phones. She was scrolling through something on Instagram, and I was reading an article about classic car restoration, something I'd been getting into lately as a hobby. Out of nowhere, she let out this long sigh. What's wrong? I asked, not really expecting much. She didn't look up from her phone. Nothing. Everything. I don't know. I set my phone down. Sarah, what's going on? That's when she said it, still staring at her screen like she was reading the words off a script. I wish I'd chosen a different life. The room went completely silent except for the hum of the refrigerator in the kitchen. I felt something shift in my chest, like a gear clicking out of place. What does that mean? I kept my voice steady. She finally looked at me, and her eyes were tired in a way I hadn't noticed before. It means exactly what it sounds like. I look at other people's lives and I wonder what mine would have been like if I'd made different choices. Different career, different partner, different everything. Different partner, I repeated. She shrugged. Maybe. I should have been angry. I should have yelled or demanded an explanation or asked if there was someone else. Instead, I just felt this strange calm wash over me. 20 years, 2 kids, a mortgage, family vacations to the same lake house every summer, and she wished she'd chosen differently. Okay, I said. It's not too late to start one. She blinked. What? A different life. It's not too late. I stood up. If that's how you feel, we should do something about it. I didn't mean... No, I think you did. I walked toward the stairs. I'll move your things into the guest room tonight. We can figure out the details tomorrow. You're being ridiculous, she called after me. I wasn't being ridiculous. I was being done. I spent the next 2 hours quietly moving her clothes, toiletries, and personal items into the guest room at the end of the hall. She stood in the doorway halfway through, watching me fold her sweaters. This is insane. I was just venting. For 20 years? I asked, placing another stack in the drawer. You don't say something like that unless you've been thinking it for a while. She didn't argue with that. That night, I slept better than I had in months. The bed felt bigger, sure, but also clearer. Like I'd been carrying something heavy without realizing it, and someone had finally taken it off my shoulders. Wednesday morning I woke up early, made coffee, sat on the porch, and watched the sun come up over the neighbor's fence. Around 7:30, a car pulled into the driveway, a silver Honda I recognized immediately. My sister Rebecca got out, followed by my brother-in-law Tom. Then my parents' car pulled up behind them. Then my best friend Danny's truck. Sarah came downstairs around 8, still in her robe, and stopped dead when she saw them all sitting on the porch with me. Chairs from the garage, coffee cups in hand, chatting like it was a Sunday morning hangout. She opened the front door slowly. What's going on? Morning, Sarah, Rebecca said, her voice friendly but cool. I stood up. I called them last night, told them what you said, about wishing you'd chosen a different life. The color drained from her face. You had no right. I had every right, I said calmly. These are the people who watched me build a life with you, who celebrated our wedding, who helped us move into this house, who babysat our kids. I figured they should know it apparently meant nothing to you. That's not fair, she stammered. My mother, usually the peacekeeper, set her coffee down. Actually, Sarah, I think it's very fair. My son has spent 20 years being a devoted husband and father, and you told him you wished you'd chosen differently? I was upset. I didn't mean it like that. How did you mean it? Danny asked. He'd been my friend since high school. Because from where I'm sitting, that's pretty clear. Sarah looked at me, her eyes pleading. Can we talk about this privately? Why? I asked. You said it in private, and look where that got us. Now everyone knows. Now you can have that different life you wanted without any of us holding you back. Update 1. The porch confrontation lasted another 20 minutes. Sarah tried to explain herself, said she'd been feeling underappreciated, that I was always in the garage working on cars instead of spending time with her, that she felt like she'd sacrificed her career for our family. Some of it was valid. Some of it was deflection. Rebecca wasn't having it. You could have said you needed marriage counseling. You could have said you were unhappy. Instead, you told him you wished you'd chosen a different life entirely. That's not asking for change. That's saying you regret him. Sarah started crying. My dad just shook his head and went inside to refill his coffee. By noon, everyone had left except Danny, who helped me start packing up more of Sarah's things. She'd locked herself in the guest room. You sure about this? Danny asked as we loaded boxes into his truck. You heard what she said? Yeah, but 20 years, man. Exactly. 20 years, and I was the wrong choice. I taped another box shut. I'm not spending the next 20 being someone's regret. That night, Sarah came downstairs while I was making dinner. Just pasta, nothing fancy. Are you really going to throw away our entire marriage over one comment? She asked. I didn't turn around from the stove. You threw it away. I'm just acknowledging it. That's not true. Isn't it? I plated the pasta, just one serving. When's the last time you looked at me like you were glad I was here? When's the last time you seemed genuinely happy to see me walk through the door? She didn't answer. That's what I thought. I sat down at the table alone. You can eat whatever you want. There's food in the fridge. She stood there for a moment, then went back upstairs. Update 2 by Friday, word had spread through our social circle. Sarah's best friend Monica called me furious. How dare you humiliate her like that in front of your family? I didn't humiliate her, I said calmly. I told the truth. You ambushed her. Monica, she told me she wished she'd married someone else. Would you stay quiet about that if it happened to you? Silence. That's what I thought. Monica hung up. Our kids called that weekend. First Lily, our daughter, 22. Dad, Mom's really upset. She said you're being cruel. Did she tell you what she said to me? She said she was just having a bad day. Lily, she told me she wished she'd chosen a different life. Different partner. After 20 years. That's not a bad day, that's how she really feels. Lily was quiet for a moment. Did you try talking to her about it? I gave her the opportunity to explain. She doubled down, said maybe she did mean a different partner. Oh, another pause. That's really messed up, Dad. Yeah. Our son Jake called next. He was more direct. Mom's saying you kicked her out of your bedroom over nothing. Ask her what she said to me first, Jake. Get the full story. He called back an hour later. Jesus, Dad! I can't believe she said that. Neither could I. What are you going to do? Honestly? I don't know yet, but I'm not going to pretend everything's fine. Update 3. 2 weeks later, Sarah finally asked for marriage counseling. We were sitting in the kitchen on a Sunday morning, both reading different sections of the newspaper like roommates. I found a therapist, she said quietly. Will you go with me? I looked up. Why? Because I don't want to lose our marriage. You told me you wished you'd chosen differently. that's already losing it. I was wrong. Her voice cracked. I was scared and stupid and I said something horrible. But I don't actually want a different life. I want to fix this one. I set the newspaper down. Sarah, I've spent 2 weeks thinking about this. Really thinking. And I realized something. I can't remember the last time you looked at me with actual love. Familiarity, sure. Tolerance, absolutely. But love? That's been gone for a while, hasn't it? She started crying. That's not fair. It's honest. I stood up. I'll go to counseling. But I need you to understand. I'm not going to fight for someone who's already decided I was a mistake. The first session was brutal. The therapist, Dr. Chen, was a no-nonsense woman in her 60s who didn't let either of us hide behind excuses. Sarah, why did you say what you said? She asked directly. Sarah twisted her hands in her lap. I was looking at my friend's Instagram. She's traveling through Europe, posting all these photos of herself looking free and happy. And I just felt trapped. Trapped by what? By everything. The routine, the same conversations, the same house. I gave up my career to raise the kids, and he got to keep pursuing his interests. I worked 60-hour weeks to support this family. I interrupted. You chose to stay home. I supported that choice. You didn't ask if I wanted to go back to work once the kids were in school. You didn't tell me you wanted to. Dr. Chen held up a hand. Both of you are pointing fingers. Let's focus on the actual issue. Sarah, did you mean what you said about wishing you'd chosen a different life? Sarah was quiet for a long time. In that moment, yes. I meant it. Something in my chest finally settled. The truth, at least, was on the table. And now? Dr. Chen asked. Now I'm terrified because I hurt him and I don't know how to fix it. That's not the same as wanting this life, I said quietly. That's just not wanting to be the villain. Update 4. We kept going to therapy. Sarah started opening up about feeling invisible, how I'd spent the last 5 years increasingly absorbed in my car restoration hobby, how I'd stopped asking about her day, how she felt like she'd become just another piece of furniture in the house. Some of it hit hard because it was true. I had checked out, bit by bit, not because I didn't care, but because it had felt easier than addressing the growing distance between us. But here's the thing. She'd checked out too. She'd stopped asking about my projects, except to complain about the time I spent in the garage. She'd stopped initiating any physical affection. She'd built her own separate life through book clubs and friend groups that I was never invited into. We'd both let it die. The difference was, she'd said the quiet part out loud, and I'd been the one humiliated by it. By week 6 of therapy, Dr. Chen asked us both, "Do you want to stay married?" Sarah said yes immediately. I took longer. I don't know. I want to. But I can't unhear what she said. Every time I look at her, I think she wishes I was someone else. That's not true anymore, Sarah said desperately. How do I know that? How do I trust that tomorrow or next month or next year, you won't look at me again and think you made the wrong choice? She didn't have an answer. Final update. It's been 4 months since that Tuesday night. Sarah and I are still living in the same house, but we're separated. She's still in the guest room. We're cordial. We have to be, with shared finances and kids who visit during holidays. She started working again, part-time at a marketing firm. Says it's helping her feel like herself. I'm genuinely glad for her, even if things between us are broken. We're planning to file for divorce in the spring. It's amicable as far as these things go. We'll split everything 50-50. The kids are handling it better than expected. I think they saw the cracks long before we admitted them. A few people have asked if I overreacted, if I should have forgiven her and moved on. Maybe. But I don't think I could have lived the rest of my life as someone's second choice, someone's regret. Life's too short for that. Danny helped me finish restoring a 1967 Mustang last week. It's beautiful, cherry red, runs like a dream. I'm thinking about taking a road trip out west next month. Something I've always wanted to do. Sarah saw me working on it last weekend. She stood in the garage doorway and said, "It's really beautiful." "Thanks," I said. "I'm sorry," she added. "For what I said. For all of it." I nodded. "I know." She left, and I kept polishing the chrome. Some things you can restore, others you can't. You just have to know the difference.